Hi everyone, my name is Jess. I have a blog called Sketchwriter Jess, and I also have a shop called Sketchwriter Jess Press. I have written a book called How to Journal Now to Solve Life Problems. There's no gimmicks in this. It is pure information. So let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is a mood chart. Now, this book can be applied for any kind of life. It can be for a person with mental illness. It can be for a person without mental illness. Anybody with a chronic illness like, I don't know, fibromyalgia or something similar to that. And basically, it's a chart that shows your moods and your sleep. And you can see how they correspond to each other, if they correspond to each other. Now, I had great success with this mood chart that I created for myself. I've been able to tell my doctor what I needed. I needed an adjustment in my medicine. I wasn't sure which medicine it was. She kind of had to figure out what it was. But eventually we got it down to knowing which one it was, and now it's right. So it was really helpful. I used this for a couple months, about like 2 times in the last couple months or so. It's not something you need to do every day. You just do it like once in a while, like once every 2 months or 3 months. It just shows you how things are going. And the best thing about this is you define your moods. I put 5 emoticons on here. It's from happy to sad. There's even one that's just plain, like it could be any mood, content or stable, or you could say stable, anything. But basically you define what they are instead of saying something like, oh, I have highs and lows. That's not quite describing what you're really feeling. And if the doctor knows, hey, you're getting ultra excited about something, and maybe it's not really something that you should be getting ultra excited about, then perhaps you need an adjustment somewhere. Even therapy, like your therapy maybe need to be adjusted somehow. So it takes all of that into account. And basically you can tell your doctor what you need to tell them with this, and they can see it visually. So basically it's real easy to use. I explain how to use it in this book. So let me show you how this process works. I basically made a visual journal process where you work in a ruled line journal, and you use journal prompts that I provide, or you can use any journal prompts. Doesn't matter what it is. That's the good thing about this book. You can apply it to anything. It's not just my stuff. So this is showing my journal, and these are answers to some of the prompts that I wrote. And I underlined all the things because the prompts that I have blanks in them. So I underlined where the blanks were. And so you fill that out, and you look at that, and you say, okay, I want to work on this thing, one of these prompts, and I want to work on it this month. So then the next step, although sometimes I do put this later on, but the next step, it may be easier if you do it before then, is mind mapping. You mind map. You have a center, it has like a phrase that you're thinking of. It has to do with the bullet journal prompt. And then you have your goals. And I figure like 1 goal per week. And then like you come up with 3 or 4 tasks in each week to work on. And it doesn't mean that you have to work on them like all the time, like every week. You just kind of like get a feel for the things that you're thinking you need to do tasks for, so that they eventually become a habit. So that's what the mind mapping is for. So the next one is an affirmation page with weeks. You have 5 weeks usually, and for each week you have different goals to work on. So you look at the mind mapping sheet and you start putting in those goals and those tasks, and you just have them there to look at a glance. It's easy to look at, and you can always change them. You don't have to, I mean, you could even write them in pencil if you want. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to ink them in or anything. You can cross things out. You can erase things. You know, that's something you can do. So this affirmation helps you stay on track throughout the month. I made up the affirmation myself from scrambling words in one of my books and just kind of playing around with them, making up a poem. But you can do anything you want. You can find a quote, you know, but it helps if you have the affirmation yourself, I think. I think it works better that way. It's up to you. So that's what this layout is. The next layout is a calendar at a glance, and this is really helpful with appointments. It's helpful with keeping track of meds. It's helpful with keeping track of dates with friends or birthdays, that kind of thing. It just helps you stay on track in a practical way. You know, a lot of this is mental. You have to think of everything mentally. But having this practical way to do it really helps. So that's the calendar, and as you can see, I put some artwork on there and the days that aren't there. So you know, that's another way to play around with it, make it not so minimal. So then this layout is the daily log, and this one allows you to keep track of every day. And you can actually plan things out ahead of time according to your weeks. So you can just like put a few things you're planning on working on, and if you don't work on them, you don't work on them, you don't worry about it. You just say, well, you know, like I'll work on it another time. The whole point of this journaling experience is to be able to work on the things that you need to work on. And sometimes the things you need to work on are not what you think they are. And so you're going to work on the things that are going to help you more now than ahead in the future. So basically that's what this one is. And then the last layout I have is the mood tracker. Now this is what it looks like when I put it in my bullet journal. It has everything. It has, you know, I put my emoticons to define my moods. I have the days to keep track of the times that I go to bed and all that. It's pretty easy to follow. I did put instructions for every layout in here. And the best part is that all of these layouts have worksheets with them. So if you don't want to draw it in a bullet journal, you don't have to. You can use the worksheets that I provided. And at some point you might want to cut off the instructions and just, you know, you can glue it into a journal, or you could keep it in a book. You can just tape over the instructions and put some artwork, whatever you want. So it's, you know, it's real simple to use. So you don't have to always reinvent the wheel. You can just take the layouts you want and use them. And it's similar to a bullet journal in that you fill them out. I mean, there's nothing concrete on there really. There's nothing like for the month and the day. You fill out those days. You print out as many as you need to get the layouts that you need to use. But I tend to use all of them except the mood tracker just a couple times a year. So basically, that's it. That's the book. The book is available for purchase for $6, And if you think about it, a glass of champagne costs more usually. And so you're done with the champagne in like what, 10-15 minutes. That this is the kind of thing that'll last you forever. I mean, you have it forever. You download it once, and you can print it out as many times as you need. I'd appreciate it if you don't distribute it to people for sale. Check with me first. If you're a mental health professional, we can come to an agreement on paying royalties and that kind of thing. You know, just depends on how you use it. So basically, that's it. My blog is Sketchwriter Jess, and my store is Sketchwriter Jess Press. Go to www.sketchwriterjesspress.com to order any of my books. It's everyday play for the mind. That's what's cool about it. It's just for you to play around. And that's sometimes what you need. Serious play. Until next time, I'm just signing out.